his signature squint and gravelly voice, greeting the panel with a nod. Whoopi Goldberg kicked things off with light-hearted questions about his directing style, but Behar couldn't resist diving into politics. She quipped about Eastwood's past support for Republican figures and questioned how his macho on-screen persona aligned with modern sensitivities around gender and diversity in Hollywood. Eastwood chuckled at first, responding with his dry humor, saying something along the lines of how times change but storytelling remains eternal. However, as Behar pressed on, accusing him of being out of touch with progressive values, the tension began to build. The audience shifted uncomfortably, sensing the shift from friendly banter to a potential showdown. Eastwood, never one to back down, fired back with remarks about free speech and how he believed America had lost its spine in recent years. Behar, undeterred, interrupted him multiple times, leading to overlapping voices and raised tones. The other co-hosts tried to mediate, but it was clear this was no ordinary interview. Eastwood's face hardened, his eyes narrowing as he recalled past feuds and stood his ground on issues like gun rights and traditional values. The segment, meant to be 10 minutes, stretched longer as the exchange heated up, with Behar challenging Eastwood on his views about climate change and social justice. He retorted that he wasn't there to debate politics but to talk movies, yet Behar persisted, perhaps seeing an opportunity for viral moments. The crowd murmured, some cheering Eastwood's responses, others siding with Behar's pointed questions. Producers in the control room likely scrambled, debating whether to cut to commercial, but the live broadcast rolled on. Eastwood, growing frustrated, leaned forward, his voice booming as he defended his legacy against what he called woke nonsense. Behar laughed it off initially, but her expression soured when Eastwood implied that shows like The View were part of the problem with divided America. The back and forth continued, with Eastwood sharing anecdotes from his long career, from his days as a rawhide cowboy to directing Oscar-winning films, all while weaving in subtle jabs at mainstream media. Behar countered with statistics and opinions from her perspective as a comedian and commentator. The energy in the room was electric, a mix of admiration for Eastwood's tenacity and shock at the unscripted drama unfolding. As the segment progressed, it became evident that this wasn't just a clash of personalities but a microcosm of broader cultural divides. Eastwood, with his no-nonsense demeanor, represented an old-school Hollywood toughness, while Behar embodied the outspoken progressive voice of daytime TV. The audience erupted in applause at various points, divided in their loyalties. Finally, as tempers flared, Eastwood stood up abruptly, muttering something about not wasting his time, and headed toward the exit. Behar called after him, but he didn't look back, leaving the set in stunned silence. This moment, captured on live television, immediately sparked a firestorm on social media, with clips going viral within minutes. Hashtags like #Clint vs. Joy and #Eastwood Walkout trended worldwide, drawing millions of views and comments. Supporters of Eastwood praised his stand against what they saw as biased questioning, while Behar's fans defended her right to challenge guests. The incident highlighted the polarized state of American discourse, where even a simple talk show appearance could turn into a battleground. In the aftermath, networks replayed the footage, analysts dissected every word, and late-night hosts lampooned the exchange. Eastwood, true to form, later issued a brief statement through his publicist, saying he had no regrets and that honesty is always the best policy. Behar, on the next episode, addressed the walkout with her characteristic humor, joking that she finally met someone grumpier than her. The event not only boosted ratings for The View but also reignited interest in Eastwood's film, proving that controversy sells. As the dust settled, it became a talking point in cultural commentaries, symbolizing the clash between generations and ideologies in entertainment. Delving deeper into the backstreet, Clint Eastwood's invitation to The View came at a time when the show was eager to attract high-profile guests to bolster viewership amid competition from streaming platforms. Eastwood, promoting his directorial effort titled Shadows of the West, A Tale of Redemption in the American Frontier, saw it as an opportunity to reach a broader audience beyond his typical fan base. Joy Behar, a veteran of the show since its inception in 1997, has built a reputation for her candid opinions on everything from politics to pop culture, often sparking debates with conservative guests. Her clashes with figures like Meghan McCain in the past set the stage for what would happen with Eastwood. As the segment began, the co-hosts welcomed him warmly, with Sonny Hostin asking about his inspirations for the new movie. Eastwood shared stories from his early days in spaghetti westerns under Sergio Leone, captivating the audience with tales of filming in harsh conditions. But Behar interjected early, questioning the relevance of Western genres in today's diverse society, suggesting they perpetuate outdated stereotypes. Eastwood defended the art form, arguing that stories of morality and justice are timeless. The discussion veered into personal territory when Behar brought up Eastwood's family life and his multiple children from different relationships, implying a double standard in Hollywood. He responded coolly, emphasizing privacy and focusing on his work ethic. The exchange grew intense as Behar referenced Eastwood's 2016 comments on political correctness, calling them insensitive. Eastwood countered by saying society has become too soft, unable to handle differing opinions. The audience reacted with a mix of gasps and cheers, amplifying the drama. Whoopi attempted to steer back to the film, but the damage was done. The conversation had ignited. Eastwood elaborated on his views, drawing from his experiences as mayor of Carmel by the Sea, where he championed environmental causes, ironically clashing with Behar's points. She pressed on climate denial in conservative circles, to which Eastwood admitted the planet's changes but questioned extreme measures. The verbal sparring showcased their contrasting worlds, Eastwood's rugged individualism versus Behar's collective activism. As minutes ticked by, Eastwood's patience waned, his responses shorter and sharper. Behar, sensing the hook, doubled down, accusing him of romanticizing violence in films. He fired back that art reflects life, not dictates it. The set felt like a powder keg, with producers signaling for a break, but the live format kept it going. Finally, Eastwood's frustration peaked when Behar mocked his agent relevance, prompting him to stand and declare the interview over. He walked off amid stunned silence, the camera following his exit. Behar quipped a parting shot, but it fell flat. The immediate reaction was explosive. Social media lit up with memes, edits, and hot takes. Conservative outlets hailed Eastwood as a hero standing against liberal bias, while progressive voices criticized his abrupt departure as rude. The views ratings soared, with the clip amassing over 50 million views in 24 hours. Eastwood's film saw a bump in pre-sales, turning the fiasco into unintended publicity. Behar addressed it later, saying guests should expect tough questions. Analysts noted this as part of a trend where celebrity interviews turn political, reflecting national divides. Eastwood, in interviews post-incident, laughed it off, saying he's faced worse on sets. The event spurred discussions on media etiquette and guest treatment, with some calling for more balanced panels. In the end, it underscored Eastwood's enduring icon status and Behar's role as a provocateur, making for unforgettable TV. As the viral clip circulated, details emerged about the lead-up to the clash, painting a picture of mismatched expectations from the start. Eastwood's team had requested a focus on his cinematic legacy, but the View's producers, aiming for buzzworthy content, encouraged unfiltered discussion. On the day, Eastwood arrived early, mingling backstage with staff, sharing jokes from his Dirty Harry days. The co-hosts prepped questions, with Behar reportedly eager to engage on hot-button issues. The interview opened smoothly, Eastwood charming the panel with anecdotes about working with stars like Meryl Streep and Bridges of Madison County. But Behar shifted gears, asking about his endorsement of Donald Trump in past elections. Eastwood acknowledged his views but pivoted to unity, saying America needs less division. Behar challenged this, citing specific policies she disagreed with, leading to a back-and-forth on immigration and economy. Eastwood, drawing from his Korean War service, emphasized patriotism, which Behar countered with inclusivity arguments. The audience engaged, some applauding Eastwood's points on self-reliance, others Behar's on empathy. Tensions rose when Behar brought up gun control, referencing Eastwood's iconic revolver scenes. He defended Second Amendment rights, sparking boos and cheers. Whoopi interjected for calm, but the momentum carried on. Eastwood elaborated on his philanthropy, like supporting veterans, to humanize his stance. Behar questioned if that aligned with conservative policies cutting social programs. The debate intensified, voices overlapping as Eastwood accused media of sensationalism. Behar retorted that shows like his films glorify conflict. The exchange highlighted generational gaps. Eastwood's post-WEA ethos versus Behar's boomer-era activism evolved leftward. As it escalated, Eastwood's body language shifted, crossing arms, leaning back. Behar leaned in, gesturing emphatically. The other hosts tried redirecting to lighter topics, like Eastwood's music interests, but the political undercurrent persisted. Finally, a pointed remark from Behar about old white men in power pushed Eastwood over the edge. He stood, removed his mic, and said, "I've had enough of this circus," storming off. The studio gasped, Behar looking shocked. Cameras captured the moment, which exploded online. Reactions poured in. Fans praised Eastwood's authenticity. Critics called it entitlement. The View issued a statement respecting diverse views but regretting the abrupt end. Eastwood's reps confirmed he felt ambushed. The incident fueled podcasts and columns debating civility in media. Social platforms buzzed with parodies, SNL sketches in the works. Behar, on air next day, joked about needing tougher skin for legends. Eastwood promoted his film elsewhere, gaining sympathy buzz. The clash became a case study in communication breakdowns, showing how preconceptions derail dialogues. Ultimately, it boosted both parties' profiles, proving controversies draw on entertainment. In the hours following the walkout, the internet dissected every frame of the confrontation, turning it into a cultural phenomenon. Eastwood's stoic exit was meme-ified, overlaid with his famous lines like "Make my day." Behar's expressions became GIFs, capturing her surprise. Commentators on networks like Fox and MSNBC spun it ideologically. Right-wing hosts lauded Eastwood's defiance against leftist bullying. Left-leaning ones defended Behar's journalistic probing. Eastwood, retreating to his California ranch, reportedly watched the fallout with amusement, fielding calls from supporters like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Behar, meanwhile, prepared for the next show, turning the incident into fodder for her monologue. The full transcript leaked, revealing unedited barbs, Eastwood calling Behar out of touch with real America, her retorting he's stuck in the 1950s. The audience's divided reactions mirrored national polarization. Producers faced backlash for not intervening sooner, with some viewers boycotting, others tuning in more. Eastwood's film trailer views spiked, marketing teams capitalizing on the buzz. Behar's book sales saw a minor uptick from the publicity. Social media influencers recreated the scene, amplifying reach. Celebrities weighed in. Conservative actors like Jon Voight praised Eastwood,